In the heart of Eastern Europe, long before electricity lit up cities and machines ruled the land, there was a region soaked in mystery, war, and blood. Deep inside the dark Carpathian mountains, between thick forests and cold castles, a prince was born. A prince whose name would echo through the centuries. His enemies feared him. His people both loved and hated him. Some called him a national hero. Others called him a monster. But history remembers him as Vlad Tepes, the Impaler, the man who ruled with iron, fire, and sharpened stakes. This is not just a story of cruelty or power. It's the tale of a boy shaped by betrayal, war, and endless thirst for justice. A story that gave birth to legends that would survive for hundreds of years. Some of those legends turned into vampire myths. But the truth, it's even more chilling. The real Vlad was not a creature of the night. He was a man with a broken past and an unbreakable will. Let's travel back in time to the 1400s. Let's step into the shadows of Wallachia and discover the truth behind the name that would never be forgotten. Vlad Tepes was born in 1431 in the town of Sighișoara, located in Transylvania, now part of modern Romania. His father was Vlad II Dracula, a noble warrior and a member of the Order of the Dragon, an elite Christian knightly order created to defend Europe from the expanding Ottoman Empire. That's where the name Dracula comes from. It means son of the dragon. But behind that noble title was a child born into chaos. From the moment Vlad took his first breath, war was always nearby. Kings and nobles fought for control, and invaders from the Ottoman Empire threatened to overrun Christian lands. Vlad was born into a world where power meant survival, and where weakness was quickly destroyed. Even as a small boy, he watched his father make enemies with powerful men, some foreign, some even within his own land. These early years would shape him forever. He would learn that trust was dangerous, that family could be torn apart, and that loyalty was often just another word for betrayal. When Vlad was around 11 years old, his father made a difficult decision. To keep peace with the powerful Ottoman Empire, he sent his sons Vlad and Radu as political hostages to the Ottoman court. It was a common strategy at the time, a way to guarantee loyalty. By keeping the sons of rulers, the Ottomans ensured their fathers wouldn't rebel. But for young Vlad, it was a prison dressed in gold. While his brother Radu adapted to life in the Ottoman palace, even growing close to the Sultan's family, Vlad hated every moment. He felt like a bird trapped in a cage. Every lesson, every ceremony, every rule reminded him that he was not free. He studied language, war tactics, sword fighting, and religion. But inside, a fire grew. He learned not only how to fight, but how to survive in a world where death was always close. He saw how the Ottomans used fear and brutal punishments to control people. He watched their methods carefully. They were cruel, but they were effective. These dark lessons stayed with him. One day he would use them himself. After years in captivity, Vlad was finally released. But when he returned home to Wallachia, he found only ashes and betrayal. His father had been overthrown and murdered by nobles who once claimed to be allies. His older brother was buried alive, and the throne, which should have been his by birthright, was now in the hands of enemies. Vlad came back to a broken land. The boyars, the noble class, had grown too powerful. They ruled through manipulation and lies. They played kings like chess pieces and sold out their people for gold. Vlad had lost his family, his kingdom, and his childhood. Now, he wanted only one thing: vengeance. But he knew he couldn't just take the throne by force. He needed allies, he needed time, and he needed to plan. Over the years, he would rise and fall, take the throne and lose it, only to come back stronger. He ruled Wallachia 3 separate times, and each time the boy who had once been a hostage returned as a man with a purpose. Once Vlad finally had power, he ruled with an iron grip. He believed peace could only come through fear, and he made fear into a weapon sharper than any sword. His favorite method of punishment became infamous: impalement. He used long wooden stakes, sharpened at one end, driven through the bodies of his enemies. Victims would be left to die slowly, their bodies displayed publicly as warnings. He didn't stop at criminals, corrupt boyars, lying merchants, invading soldiers. None were spared. To Vlad, Loyalty and order were everything. If you betrayed him, stole from the poor, or threatened peace, you were made an example. Whole villages that supported his enemies were wiped out. Forests of the dead lined the road. It wasn't just punishment. It was a message. This land belongs to Vlad. Disrespect it, and you die. Even foreign powers feared him. His cruelty wasn't hidden. It was part of his rule. But with that cruelty came results. Crime dropped. Order was restored. People could travel safely again. And many common people saw him as a dark savior. One of Vlad's most terrifying acts happened when the mighty Ottoman Empire sent an army to invade Wallachia. The Ottomans were far stronger, with more men and resources. But when they entered Vlad's land, they were met with something they never expected: death in unimaginable numbers. Near the town of Targovishte, the invaders came upon a horrifying sight: a vast forest of impaled bodies, tens of thousands of them. Some were soldiers, others were prisoners. Some were even civilians who had supported the Ottomans. The smell of decay filled the air. The ground was soaked in blood. The sight broke the enemy's spirit. This was psychological warfare at its darkest. Vlad didn't just fight with weapons. He fought with fear, and he used that fear to protect his homeland. The Ottoman army turned back, too shaken to continue. Vlad's brutality had bought him time to rebuild, time to plan, time to strike back. Vlad was feared, that much is certain, but he was also respected, even admired by some. His rule, while harsh, brought stability. Merchants could travel without fear of being robbed. Roads became safe. Corruption was punished. And justice, though brutal, was equal. There's a tale of a golden cup left at a public well. Anyone could drink from it, but no one dared steal it. Not because they were honest, but because they knew Vlad would find them, and they knew what he would do. Another story tells of a woman who complained that her husband was lazy. Vlad punished the man, forced him to work, and ordered that no one in his land would be idle. He believed that if everyone did their part, there would be no need for mercy. He created a society where fear kept order, and order brought peace. In the eyes of many peasants, Vlad wasn't a tyrant. He was the only one strong enough to protect them from both foreign invaders and greedy nobles. But no rule lasts forever. Vlad's enemies were always close. The Ottomans still wanted Wallachia. The boyars still plotted in the shadows. Eventually, Vlad was betrayed and captured by the Hungarian king, Matthias Corvinus. He was imprisoned for over a decade, but even behind bars, his legend grew. People whispered his name in fear and respect. Paintings were made, stories were told. Some said he drank blood. Some said he was a demon. Years later, he was released and allowed to fight for his throne once more. He succeeded briefly, returning as ruler for a short time, but his final reign would not last long. His enemies were waiting, and this time they would not let him escape. In 1476, Vlad Tepes died in battle. Some say he was ambushed. Others say he was killed by mistake by his own men. His body was taken by his enemies, and his head was sent to the Ottomans as proof of his death. The rest of his remains were lost to history. Some believe he was buried at Snagov Monastery, though no body was found. Others say he was never truly buried. Even today, no one knows for sure. The mystery of his death only added to his legend. And so, Vlad the Impaler's story ended, but his name never faded. Over time, his legacy would be twisted into horror fiction. He became Dracula in books and movies, but the truth is more terrifying than the legend, because the real Vlad was not a vampire, he was a man. And men, history teaches us, can be far more dangerous.